Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Been waiting to say that, but if you're new, welcome to my channel. And my name is Kumomweleti, but everyone knows me as Kenny. So today I'm gonna talk about what you consume as a person. Like, you are what you eat, and it's not about food, but you know what you watch, what you listen to, um, what what you consume, all in all. And I'd like to talk about that today because I just noticed something that had a negative impact on my life. Whereas, you know, you just have to be cautious of what you watch on a regular basis because, you know, waking up, looking at other people's opinions, looking at their highlights, their stories, their opinions, you tend to lose yourself. You try so much to be like them, and you end up losing yourself. So everything that you watch, everything that you consume, everything that you watch, you consume, it actually has an impact on you every day because not only food destroys you, what you eat, not only food, but also the things you watch, things you put into your mind. And like your mind controls everything. So for instance, if you watch sad videos, um, you know, if you watch sad videos, you become a sad person. If you watch motivational videos, um, you start to feel motivated about everything. It's just like that. And everything that you watch, every second that you watch it, you lose you lose a piece of yourself because you lose originality because you tend to consume other people's things, maybe some people's negativity. Because of, let me give you my example. Um, I used to watch pornography a lot. I used to be so addicted, and no one knew about it. And that's when it grew. That's when it grew because no one knows about it. So, it was my only secret, and it became worse. I always watched it, and it affected my mind. It made me have a lustrous mind. Whereas, you know, when you see someone, you picture them naked. So be careful of what you watch, of what you consume, because there's some things, when you start looking too much at other people's life, you stop dreaming of, you stop to, you stop dreaming for yourself. You now start to live like how they live, and it has a negative impact as a person on you. You stop being original because you consume imitation, you know, and it's not a it's not a good thing it's not a good thing because you tend to lose yourself. And but you can also change that recipe, you know by being careful of what you consume. If you be careful of what you consume, watch podcasts that elevate people, that elevate you, read books that challenge you mentally, watch videos that inspire you to be the best version of yourself. You know, it's always about what you watch, and it's not an easy thing, because junk food is because you just like because just like junk food destroys your body, junk content destroys your mind, and your mind controls everything. So that's one thing I would like to warn people about. And it you have to be careful of what you watch. Protect your focus, protect your energy, guard your energy. Because what you feed your mind, you actually feed your future. If you watch motivational videos, you know in the future you're gonna be a motivational person. So reset your mind. And what helped me reset my mind is that I stopped watching people's lives. I stopped, you know, consuming things that don't benefit me or that won't help me in the future. Like like, you know, I used to watch a lot of sad videos where, people talk about their sadness and everything. And it also, weighed me down. I also felt sad after watching that video. And it always started in the morning. The first video you watch when you scroll, either if it's happy, if it's motivational, if it's, you know, it's gonna determine your day. That's one thing I realized. It's gonna determine your day, and it's it's not a good thing. So what I did is that the first 1 hour that I woke up, I didn't use my phone. You know, I tried to listen to my mind, and the first few days, my mind was so loud. It wanted to touch my phone. It wanted me to, you know, see what's happening on social media. It wanted to know everything. So, you know, you are what you eat. So choose wisely what you wanna watch. Everything you do, everything. If you constantly feed your mind garbage, drama, negativity, comparison, um, you know, uh, don't feel surprised when your life doesn't evolve or when your life feels empty, because you are what you eat. Tend to run out of words. Don't know what to say, but I I think you get the concept of everything. And another thing that I want to talk about, you are what you eat. I talked about that now. Why am I repeating myself now? Yeah, so another thing I would like to talk about is God's timing. You know, what we have to understand about God's timing is that He works in mysterious ways, and His time is not like ours. You know, he so let Him cook. Let Him cook. He's the chef of your life, so let Him cook. And don't rush Him. And the longer the wait, the more fruitful the results will be. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, God's timing is not like ours. You know, don't rush don't rush the plans He has for you. You just have to pray, pray to Him, then He will provide. Another thing I'd like to talk about is breaking curses, actually. If you're struggling with something, break it. Break it. That's one thing I realized. If you don't break it, your child will also suffer from it. Um, like for instance, if you're used to addiction, if you're addicted to something, let's say alcohol. I'm not saying there's something wrong. Okay, there's something wrong with people who drink alcohol, who are addicted, but I can't judge them. I shouldn't judge them. I don't know what they're going through. But, you know, if you are addicted to alcohol, that same thing will happen to your children. They're also going to be addicted to alcohol. They're going to be alcoholics. So, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you are addicted to, um, learn to overcome it. Because if you don't overcome it, it's gonna affect your children. So break that generational curse. Break that curse. If you have an addiction, break it so that it doesn't affect your children. Um, it's a real thing, and people don't pay much attention to it. And addictions is just something else. It's hard if you're addicted to something. Because I used to be addicted to smoking. I liked smoking so much, and it felt like if I don't smoke, there's no color in my world. You know, there's no color, there's no life in me if I don't smoke. And it was all in the mind. It was all in the mind. I had to pray so much about it because it was getting to a point where now it's worse. I can't sleep without smoking, without having a puff. And but if it's not an addiction, if you don't think about it, from time to time, it's fine. It's okay. But if you feel like you can't live without it, that's an addiction. And one thing I've been addicted to was another thing actually that I've been a bit addicted to was my phone. And I I I just loved my phone so much, and it didn't benefit me in any way. I kept looking at other people's lives, everything, instead of focusing on mine. And that's where I lost myself because I was too busy chasing imitation from other people to a point where I actually lost myself. So, that's why I don't have an idol because, I not saying okay, I used to have an idol which was Aries, and I don't have any hate for him, I don't, but I used to idolize him so much. I wanted to smoke like him. I wanted to make music like him. I wanted to do everything like him, and I stopped having, that originality in me. I stopped being myself. I tried so much to be Aries. Like, I wore hip hop clothes, I did everything because he was my idol. And I still love his music. I still love his music so much. But I realized that I started to idolize him. I started to, try to talk like him. I started to move how he moved, and that wasn't me, I wasn't being authentic. And himself, he was being authentic. He was being himself, and that worked out for him. But me trying to be him, it just couldn't work out. But I don't have any hate for Aries. I love Aries. But I learned that I shouldn't idolize him to a point where I lose myself. So, you know, be careful of what you consume. Which heads on to what I said earlier. Be careful of what you consume. Because if you don't be cautious of what you consume, it can determine your future. So, right now, I'm just trying my best to be the best version of myself and don't try to look at someone else. So, my addiction to my phone, it was so bad. And it was so bad. I could spend like hours scrolling on social media. But if you asked me what did you learn from the last 10 videos, I couldn't remember anything, you know. I couldn't remember anything. So that's when I realized that, my addiction to my phone it's a bad thing. So what I do right now, I try to utilize how I use my phone. How I use my phone. if I'm gonna be on social media, at least change people's lives. At least make them aware of some things. Not just sitting there and, chasing imitation and things. That can ruin you mentally. It can ruin you so bad to a point where you don't remember who you are. You forget your dreams, you forget your passion, you forget, things that you like because you tried living for other people. You tried, imitating some other people. And so be careful of what you watch. Be careful of what you consume. And I know it's a sin to idolize yourself, but try your best to be the best version of yourself. Compete with yesterday's version of you and only you. You know, that's where improvement will start. And one thing I also want to talk about is that, um, yeah, I think I talked about it. Break the cycle. Break the cycle. Fight whatever you're fighting, so it doesn't affect your children. Because if you spoil your children, you will raise your grandchildren. I don't know if that makes sense. If you spoil your children, you will raise your grandchildren. If you raise your children, you'll be able to spoil your grandchildren. Which is so deep. I couldn't understand that, but it makes sense now. You know, it makes sense. I don't know what context one context I'm talking about, but I feel like you get the concept. So be careful of what you consume. You know, try to consume good things that benefit you, that actually has a positive impact on your life, that could really change your life. And yeah, I think I've talked about everything that I feel like I have on my shoulders. Although I flew everywhere, I just can't keep a straight script because it doesn't feel genuine when I make a script. So I just speak from the heart, speak about things, that are really important that people never talk about. And one thing I have to understand is that this kind of content is will not be recognized more than the stupid things that are in the world. Stupid things tend to trend because it gets you away, it moves you away, it shifts you away from focus, it shifts you away from improving yourself. This is why, it can seem like this video is too long for you, but when you watch a video of something that's stupid, that like takes the focus in you, it seems like it's short. And that's the sad truth. That's the sad truth. So be careful of what you consume every day. Be careful. And don't rush God's timing. Don't rush God's timing. He's the chef of your life. Let him cook. Let him cook. And don't only wait for him to cook. Gather the ingredients. Gather the ingredients. Do what you have to do and do it. Do it good. Don't feel tired of doing it. It's gonna become a habit, and it's gonna be it's gonna be a healthy habit which will benefit you in your life. So I feel like I've talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. Feel like I've got weight off my shoulders. And yeah, so if you feel like someone needs to hear this, like and share. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can keep hearing the truth. Because the truth is just something that the system doesn't want you to know. It wants to keep you unfocused, and it will be too late when you once notice something like that. So I hope everyone stays well and safe. Um, I'll be posting every Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'll post every Wednesday or what, but I already feel so motivated to do a lot of videos, or like I'll just post whenever I feel like saying something with my chest. So in whatever you do it best. Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to yesterday's version of you, and only you. Compare yourself to yourself, because what I like seeing is self-improvement, on a regular basis. I like to see self-improvement. you know it's a good thing to see, to witness self-improvement. So try that, and trust me, it'll change your life. So if you love consuming too much imitation, try to change that. Try to read a book. Try doing things you've never done before. Get out of your comfort zone, and you'll see how much your life will change. So I think this is the end of my video. So like, subscribe, share, and don't forget to take care of yourself. And don't forget to not care about what anyone says about you. Their opinions shouldn't weigh you down. And I hope everyone, gets something, learns something from this video. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.